With colleagues in the television industry, it's become axiomatic that representation matters. We've all seen the positive impact seeing someone who looks like you or belongs to your community or faces the same struggles you face on the screen. And yet, too frequently, it just becomes a box to tick. The docuseries Seen and Heard, The History of Black Television, debunks the cynicism surrounding diversity and reminds us Black people have been creating television since the beginning. This is Seen and Heard, The History of Black Television.
Television is such a closed world. People want to work with the directors that they've worked with before. People want to work with the crew that they've worked with before. The people who work on set, it can't just be that the people you see in front of the camera look like you. The people who you see behind the camera also have to look like you.
Seen and Heard, The History of Black Television is a two-part documentary series about Black representation in TV. We kind of pitched it as from Amos and Andy to Insecure.
I got involved in this project when Black TV kind of was in its height recently. Insecure was huge and just starting to kind of wind down into its final season. And Issa wanted to make a project about the impact of Black creatives on television.
Who is calling the shots about what television looks like in the future? Not just the green lighting, but who is producing, who is casting the actors, who is scouting the locations.
It has to be the costume designers, it has to be the guys holding the boom mic. Building a world of editors of color, creating space for showrunners of color. Like, everybody needs to have an opportunity, and that's the goal.
In a way, it was an opportunity to pay homage to all those that kind of got me here and whose shoulders I stand on. So it was a real privilege to have the opportunity to kind of pay it forward that way and tell this important story.
I've always been really compelled at how subcultures can shift to the mainstream. I've always wanted to document underground movements, Black movements, artistic movements that shape the status quo. You become part of those movements, you become an extension of it, you become a voice, you give it an even bigger microphone, and therefore maybe it's my part in impacting culture and shaping culture and in learning more about myself.
You look at Issa's story, it was like, okay, networks, you don't have a place for me, I'm making my own place. You don't want to give me a seat at your table? I'm making my own table.
The writer's room system can get stale after a while. You're trained to think a certain way. And when you have these voices that are fresh, that don't have television experience, they might cause you to think outside of this television box.
When you're talking about history, when you're talking about facts and life such as it is, people always will find something to take away from it. And I think our job really as storytellers is to kind of harness that and make it a little more salient. It's the story first. It's never really the message leading the story, it's the message behind the story. And sometimes you don't know what that message is until you uncover it and it reveals itself. And that's really the joy of making documentaries.
I really wanted this film to give people hope. And so that to me was the most important thing. And it really is for fans of Black television, whoever they may be. And it's also very much for all of us creatives working in the industry and striving to keep telling our stories.
The Television Academy honors Seen and Heard. Here to accept is co-director and producer Giselle Bailey.
I didn't play sports, so this is my first trophy, and and this is Phil, who we directed this project together. No one else brought their phone, huh? Okay. First of all, thank you to the Television Academy for this honor and for the selection committee. I think what we've certainly learned is that these stories survive because they're fought for and they're championed, so thank you for being part of that fight. Thank you to HBO, Hooray, ARC, 3 Arts, Montreal, and of course, ISA, for believing in us and fighting for stories like these to survive. You know, for us, as Phil said, it's such a deep honor to be able to speak to so many of the people that we grew up like watching. You know, I'm thinking about just the glints of light in my eye watching some of these really heroes of culture, and then being able to speak to them, and for them to give us what really felt like a guide, because as we were making this, we were really living the story that we were telling, the fight for autonomy to tell our stories the way that we want to, for ownership, which is something Montreal always guided us to come back to. It's so important. And to celebrate ourselves, and as Oprah said, to bet on ourselves. And I think Issa has really been an inspiration throughout this and inspired the path forward, not just because of the stories that she chooses to tell, but also how she chooses to tell them, where she chooses to tell them, if you've seen recent news, and how she's really shaped television. So thank you for everything that you do and for betting on voices like ours in telling this story. And I also just want to thank, we had such an incredible team that we worked with. Truly has been an honor working with the crew. And, you know, there's a doc behind the doc for sure, to tell something that, yeah, is just really true for us. Thank you so much.